This is the M3 Maths paper from CCEA. This one's from May 2024. So let's take a wee look then at question 1. Calculate the following. So we have our calculator. So we are probably the best working out you want to show is working out this top bit and working out the bottom bit. So if you do 8.84 plus 24.6, you get 33.44 on the top. 9.2 take away 4.8 and you get 4.4, and this just means divide obviously, so then we do 33.44 divided by 4.4, and my answer then is 7.6. Question 2, complete the table of values y equals 10 minus 2x. So we have 2 to fill in here. I always like filling in this one first because it's a bit easier because it's a positive number. 10 take away 2 times x. So 10 take away 2 times 3. 2 times 3 is 6. 10 take away 6 then, so that one's going to be 4. Substituting in minus 1, the 2 times the minus 1 gives me minus 2. So it's actually 10 minus minus 2. So be careful with that. That's 10 plus 2. So it's going to be 12. Plotting those points in, we're plotting minus 214. With my screen here, it's hard to see, but that's minus 2 down there. So we are minus 214. And then it's going to be minus 112 and 0, 10, 1, 8. And you sort of get the pattern fairly soon. You can see it's a straight line graph, so we're just going here down in a straight line. And we have that there. Joining these points up together then. And that's my line there. So that's the line. You can see it there down the bottom. Question 3. Gavin ordered carpet for his living room and bedroom. The living room carpet costs £37.20 per square metre. He ordered 24.5 square metres of living room carpet. The bedroom carpet costs £14.30 per square metre. He paid a total price of £106,870. How much bedroom carpet did he order? So we're going to work out the cost of the living room carpet first of all. So that's going to be 24.5 times £37.20. Just stick that into your calculator. You get £911.40. So we're then going to take that away from our total price, 106,870. Take away 911.40, and that gives us £157.30. That's how much is spent on the bedroom carpet, and it cost £14.30 per square metre. So we're just going to divide those two numbers. So that's divided then by £14.30. And if you put that in your calculator, you end up with 11. So he must have ordered 11 square metres. Number 4, 3D shape is shown which elevation is drawn below. So this is it looking from the front. If you can kind of picture that, there's like that kind of U shape there. So that's a front elevation. Part 2 is draw the plan of the 3D shape on the grid. So that's looking from the top. So hopefully you can see that. That just looks like 1, 2, 3 and then 1 to the right. So it actually just looks like an L shape. So that's going to be our plan elevation there. So let's draw that in. I'm just drawing the lines on. And that's us then for part B. Part C. Seemed to have lost. There we are. Rosie is painting the exterior of the 3D shape, including the base. How many squares will Rosie have to paint? I think this is quite a tough question. You can look at it a couple of different ways. You could look and see how many she can see from the front. So looking from this, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then from the back, which is the other side, you'd be able to see 5. So that would be 5 plus 5 from the front and the back. From the top and the bottom, there's the top view there. So you can see 4, and it's the same then on the bottom. So that would then be 4 plus 4. And then the side, it's this one, this one, this one. But you can see this one as well. So there's 4 there and then 4 the other side there. If you add all those up, 5 and 5 and 4 and 4 and 4 and 4, you'll end up then with 26. The other way of thinking about it is how much of each cube can she see. So she can see 5 of that one because only one joined. So it'd be 5 in that one. So you can see four faces, of that one, four faces of that one, four faces of that one, four faces of that one, and five faces of that one. And that would work as well then for getting you your 26. Either way then, the answer is going to be 26. Next one, calculate the angle x. Well, this here is a quadrilateral, and so the angles inside always add to 360. So we're going to work out this one here. I'm just going to call it y for the minute. So we do 45 plus 134 plus 119, and that gives me 298. They all add to 360, so y is going to be 360. You don't need to write the y, just do 360 minus 298. That'll work. That gives you 62. If that one there is 62, this here is a straight line, so we subtract it from 180. 180, take away 62, and the answer then is 118 degrees. Question 6. Stacey is going to invite some friends round for a pizza party. To work out how many pizzas to order, she uses the formula. P is the number of pizzas she needs to order. Number of people coming to the party. E is the number of slices each person gets. And S is the number of slices per pizza. How many pizzas with 8 slices are needed if there are 16 people at the party and each person gets 3 slices? So let's fill this in. P equals NE over S. We just need to work out which each one is. P is what we're trying to work out. That's the amount of pizzas. N, the number of people, 16. E, number of slices each person gets, so that's 3. And then S, number of slices per pizza, so each one then has 8. 16 times 3 is 48 over 8. And the answer to that one then, she needs to order 6 pizzas. Question 7. Look at the diagram below. Place the numbers 80, 81, 82, 83 in the correct box in the diagram. Start. Is this number a prime number? Yes. Well, we can't have 80 or 82 because they're even numbers. And the only even prime is 2. Can 2 go out and divide into them, so they're not prime. That one's not prime because I know 9 nines are 81. So 83 must be the prime number. Is the number a multiple of 5? Yes. Well, the only one here going to be a multiple of 5 is 80. Is the number a square number? Yes. Well, that was the one I was talking about earlier. That's 81, isn't it? Because 9 nines are 81. And the other number left over then is 82. Question 8. 2 farmers grow apples. Farmer Jack's apples have a mean weight of 116.85 and a range of 19.1. Farmer Brown weighs 10 of his apples picked at random. Their weights are this. Whose apples are heavier on average? You must give a mathematical reason with your answer. So we need to work out the mean then of these. So we're going to add them all up. Now I'm not going to do it. I'm going to do it kind of off the screen. But we add all of these up and then divide it by 10. So it's the sum of apples. And we divide that all by 10. And if you do that, you can take my word for it, you get 115.63 grams. So Farmer Jack's are 116.85. Farmer Brown's are 115.63. So whose apples are heavier on average? Well, that's going to be then Farmer Jack. Because his mean is higher than Farmer Brown. A supermarket prefers the apples to be similar in size. Why might this supermarket prefer to buy Farmer Brown's apples? Well, similar in size means all around the same size. So we want, I guess, like a smaller range. So the range of these apples here, again, let me see if I can find the smallest one. So there's 113. 113 there is the smallest one. 116, 118, I think is the biggest one. So the range of apples then, 118.1, take away 113.2, and that gives me 4.9. Well, look, the range there is 4.9. The range here is 19.1. That's a much bigger range of apples. So this one here. So why might this supermarket prefer Farmer Brown's apples? The range is much smaller. And actually in the mark scheme, I have a wee cheat here. 4.9 they've written is less than 19.1, but I think we've said that in our comment there anyway. Question 9. Claire wants to buy a new watch. She looks at special offers for this watch in 2 different shops. Which shop is now selling the watch at the cheapest price? You must show working to explain your answer. So every second shop normal price is at, and then a 15% discount. So let's work out the price for that. £135. So I'm going to work out 1%. That's 135 divided by 100, which is 1.35. I'm going to work out 15%. 1.35 times by 15, and that's £20.25. So if I subtract that, 135 take away £20.25. Now there are quicker ways of doing this, and if you know what are comfortable with it, far ahead, you'll have that. So it's £114.75 is the price then. That's for every second. And then minutes matter. A third of all prices. So I'm going to find a third. 174 divided by 3, and that gives me 58. And then if you want 58 times 2, or 174, take away the 58, and that gives in 116. So every second is going to be the cheaper one. It's 114, whereas this one here then is 116. Number 10. Car travels an average speed of 30 miles per hour for 1 hour. It then travels an average speed of 54 miles per hour for half an hour. Calculate the average speed for the whole journey. Well, we sort of need to work out distance travelled, I think. So we need total distance over total time. So for the first one, 30 miles an hour for 1 hour. So we have time is 1, speed is 30. So distance is speed times time, which is of course 30. For the second one, time is a half. Speed is 54. Distance is speed times time, which is going to be 27. So then total distance is 30 plus 27, which is 57. And then the total time, remember we're not in minutes here, we're doing kind of per hour. So it says down here, do you answer in miles per hour. So it's going to be 1.5. So that means speed is 57 over 1.5, and if you do 57 divided by 1.5, you just type it in your calculator, 57 divided by 1.5, you end up then with 38 miles per hour. Question 11. A wedding venue has circular tables of diameter 2 metres. The bride wants to put a ribbon around the edge of each table. There are 15 tables. The ribbon is only sold in a whole number of metres and costs $1.25 per metre. What's the minimum total cost of the ribbon? So we have a circular table here, and we know our diameter is 2. So we're going to find the circumference because we want the distance around it. So C is pi d, C is pi times 2, and you put that into your calculator and you get 6.2831185 or something in and around there. I've kept a lot of decimal places on because it's good to be more accurate whenever you can. So we're going to then do that then times by 15. So 6, because that's the distance point run table and we want 15 tables, times by 15, it gives you 94.2478. So we need 95 metres is needed, because it's 94.2 metres, so 94 wouldn't be enough, so we need 95 metres. So it's 95 multiplied by £1.25. Again, put that in your calculator and you will end up with 118.75. So that's £118.75p. Question 12. Steve bought a box of 200 hats for £120. He decided to sell them at a local market. It cost him £20 to hire a stall. Steve sold 70% of the hats at £3 each. He sold a quarter of the hats at £2.50 each. He sold the remaining hats at £1 each. How much profit did Steve make? So let's see. Steve sold 70% at £3 each. So 70%, I can do that in my head. I don't know if you can, because it's 200 hats. So it's going to be, if 70% of 100 is 70, so it's going to be 140 times by 3 for this bit here, and that gives me £420. Sold a quarter of the hats. That's another easy one. That's 50 hats. 50 times £2.50, and that comes to £125. He sold the remaining hats, so look, that's 140 and that's 50, so that's 190. So he sold the remaining hats for £1, and that then is £10. So that's how much money he made. He bought them, so he paid 120 and then £20 for the hire, which is 140. And then made, I suppose if you want to go 420 plus 125 plus 10. So let's do some sums here. 420. I think that gives 555. So this is how much money he collected in, that's how much money he paid out. So we take away 140. And we end up with 415. So my final sum then, hopefully that makes sense, 555 take away 140, so we made £415. Question 13. Solve the following equation. We need to multiply this bracket. 5 times a 2y is 10y. 5 times a 3 plus 15 equals 79. Take away 15 from both sides, or whatever way you solve your equations. That ends up giving you 64. We don't get a whole number answer here, so we got to do then, it's 64 divided by 10. So my answer then is going to be 6.4. Question 14. A scatter graph shows the heights and weights of players on a rugby squad. So there's our height there, there's a weight. Describe the relationship between the heights and weights of the player. Well, it looks like, you know, the taller players are heavier. So as height increases, so does weight. And we would call that then a positive correlation. Another way of saying the same thing, really. Jack Morris joins a squad. The manager records Jack's height as 178. Jack's weight is 60. Plot this information in the scatter graph. So he's 178 then and 60. There's 175. So there's 178. So 178 and 60. Plot this information scatter above. The manager made an error in reading Jack's weight. Use the scatter graph to say whether Jack's weight is likely to be lower or higher than 60 kilograms. Well, I think it's likely to be much, much higher. If he's this height here, we're expecting him up kind of around this area here. So we would say it's likely then to be higher. Question 15. A primary school has a choir and a drama club. The school has 80 pupils. 45 attend choir, 30 attend drama, 15 attend neither. Complete the Venn diagram using this information. So 15 attend neither means we have 15 outside here. Then this bit here is going to have to come to, let me see, 80 take away 15, so 65. But these two here add to 75. That means there's going to be an overlap then of 10. If 45 at 10 choir, then we need to have 35, because this needs to come then to the 45. And then if 30 at 10 drama, that needs to be 20 there. What fraction of the pupils attend only the drama club? So only the drama club is 20. So that would be 20 out of 80. And of course that cancels down then to give us 1/4. Question 16, ABC is a right angled triangle. AC is 15, BC is 7.5. Work out the length of AB. Well, this is going to be, if we call this X maybe, we're going to use Pythagoras then for this. So X squared plus 7.5 squared equals 15 squared. X squared plus, that ends up being 56.25. That's me just squaring the 7.5. 15 squared is 225. I'd subtract these two and it gives me 168.75, and then I find the square root of 168.75. You put that into your calculator, you get 12.99 or something. So we're going to go then with 13. I think it rounds up then to that. Question 17, a water tank has the dimensions as shown. The cross section is a trapezium, so that's that wee bit there, and the volume is 522. Calculate the length of the tank, so we want this distance here. Excuse me. So we need to work out the area of our trapezium. It's in the inside front cover of the test, the formula for this. So it's a half A plus B upon H. So area is a half upon 6 plus 12. That's the two parallel sides. And then that is times then by 4. 6 plus 12 is 18. Half of that is 9 times 4. Then it's going to be 36. So our area is 36. Our total volume is 522. So to find the length, it's going to be 522 divided by 36, and you put that into your calculator and you will get 14.5. So that's 14.5 meters in. Question 18, the heights in meters of the number of trees is recorded for a science experiment. The results are shown in the table below. Calculate an estimate for the mean height. I always think I'd like another couple of columns on here to make this one work. I'll just change to a sharper pencil as well. So here we want the midpoint, which is going to be X, and we want halfway between here, so that's going to be 105, then that's going to be 115, 125, 135, 145 and 155, and then this is going to be F times X. So we times these values here. 6 times 105, 630. Again, just in your calculator, 13 times 115 is 1495. 12 times 125 is 1500. 15 times 135 is 2025. 3 times 145 is 435. And 1 times 155 is, of course, 155. And we sum these. Add up the frequency. So the sum of the frequency, that just means sum. Don't let that scare you. And then the sum of the fx column. And add these up again in your calculator. That will come to 6240. So my estimated mean is 6240 all over 50. I put it in the calculator and I get 124.8. In which class interval does the median lie? So we're looking, because there's 50, we're looking between the 25th and 26th. So that would take us to 6. That would take us to 19, and that would take us then all the way to 31. So it's going to be in this group here. So we just write 120 to 130. And that's us. Question 19. Alan wants to invest 2,400 for 2 years. He sees the following offers for compound interest. Calculate for each bank the value of the investment after 2 years. So for Bank A, he earns 3% on the first year. So we want 3% of 2,400. And 3% of 2,400. You find 1%, which is 24. Find 3% and you get £72. And then, so after then year 1, he's got 2,472. And then 1% then for year 2. So we want 1% then of this. 1% equals £24.72. So adding those together, so after year 2 then, it's 2,496.72. So we have that. Part B, we want 4% of 2,400. 1% is 24, 4% is 96. So after year 1, remember it's compound interest, so we add as we go along, we have 2,496. And then we want 0.5% after that. So if you find 1%, it will be 24.96, and so half of that then will be £12.48. So if I add that on, I get to £508.48. There is a different way of doing it. You can multiply by 1.03 and then 1.01. You can multiply by 1.04 and 1.005. This is a slightly slower method I've used, and that's what we have. So Bank A is 2,496.72. Bank B is £2,508.48. Question 20. Write 126 as a product of its prime factors. So 126 divided by 2 gives me 63. That then divides by 3 to give me 21. It divides by 3 again to give me 7 and divides by 7. So 126 is 2 times 3 times 3 times 7. Or if we want 2 times 3 squared times 7. Find the highest common factor of 126 and 90. So I'm now going to do the same then for 90. Divided by 2, I get 45. Divided by 3, I get 15. Divided by 3, I get 5. Divided by 5, I get 1. So 90 is 2 times 3 squared times 5. And remember then 126 is 2 times 3 squared times 7. For highest common factor, we want the bits that are common. There's a common 2 and there's a common 3 squared. So my highest common factor is 2 times 3 squared. 2 times 9, which is going to be 18. There is a different method. If you want to write out the factors of 126 and 90 and just find the highest one, that will work too. There's nothing stopping you do that as well. A rectangular basketball court is x meters wide. The length of the court is 13 meters longer. Perimeter of the court is 86. Form and solve an equation to find the value of x. I always like to draw these things out. It makes me feel a bit better so we can see what's going on. So that's x, and that's x plus 13. And they're saying the perimeter, so all the distance all the way around it, is going to be 86. So that's x plus 13 plus x plus x plus 13. Is 86. Tidying that all up, 4x is there, plus 26 is 86. That gives me 4x is going to be 60. I'm dividing them by 4 to find the value of x, then it's 15. Question 22 is a fairly tough one, I think. 2, 5 is the midpoint of a line joining AB and 3A3. Find the values of A and B. There is a wee formula for midpoint, so we're going to use that. And so the midpoint XY is always equal to x1 plus x2 over 2, y1 plus y2 over 2. And so what we're saying here for the x's is that 2 must equal the x coordinates, so it's a plus 3a all over 2, because that's going to be where that bit comes from. So that means 2 is 4a over 2, 2 is 2a, and a is going to be 1. For the y's, it's 5, and it's b plus 3 all over 2. So I would times through by 2 here. I get 10 is b plus 3, and that would give me then b is 7. There are other ways of doing it. You could try drawing it out and seeing if you can get it to work out, but I think that's probably the most straightforward way. So our answers there are going to be 1 and 7. Question 23. A step ladder with sides 2.3 is opened so that the feet are 1.4 meters apart. Calculate the angle to which the step ladder has been opened. Well, I'm going to split this down the middle and then try and remember to multiply my angle by 2 at the end. So if I lift out that triangle, that's now a right angle. And that's 0.7. Hopefully you see where I've got that from, because it's half of the 1.4. That's 2.3, and I'm trying to find this angle here. So I'm going to label my sides. That's O, that's H, and that's A. So I have O and H, so I'm going to use sine. Sine theta or sine x, if you prefer that, is over H. Sine theta is 0.7 over 2.3. So this is one where we want to use sine to minus 1. Hopefully that wee theta hasn't confused. You can just have an x there, but that's okay. So shift sine 0.7 divided by 2.3, and that gives me 17.71. And then therefore the angle is times by 2. So I'm going to just times that by 2 on my calculator, and I get 35.44. Okay, question 24. A cylindrical flask has diameter 12 centimeters and height 25 centimeters. The flask is full of coffee. The coffee cup is a hemisphere, diameter 9. Each coffee cup is filled to 90% capacity. How many cups of coffee can you get? So we want, first of all, the volume of the cylinder. And that's going to be pi r squared times by h. So that's pi times, that's diameter is 12, do you see? So that means it's going to be 6 squared times by 25. Put that into your calculator. Hopefully that's okay for you. You get 2827.433, I think. The volume of the hemisphere. Again, both of these formulas, as far as the volume of a sphere is in your inside front cover, which I've now kind of misplaced, but it's 4 over 3 pi r cubed. For a hemisphere, I'm just going to go 2 over 3, that would be half of it. Feel free to find the whole sphere and then divide it by 2, that would work as well. So it's 2 over 3 times pi, and then remember the diameter is 9, so it's radius we use, and it's 4.5 cubed. If you put that in your calculator, hopefully that's okay. Check it and see that you can do that. 8517. So it says they only filled in 90%, so I want 90% of this. And that's 171.7666. And then that's what each cup is, so I divide this in then to the original amount. So 2827.433 divided by 171.7166, and I end up with 16.461. And so my answer then is going to be 16 cups. Question 25, a rectangle has this length and this width. What's a quadratic expression for its area? Well, here's my rectangle again. 4x minus 5 and 3x plus 4. So I'm just going to multiply those. I use a thing called FOIL, which is familiar to some of you. Two first terms, 12x squared, the two outer terms, plus 16x, the two inner terms, minus 15x, the two last terms, or minus 20. Joining together my like terms, I get 12x squared plus x minus 20. Cumulative frequency diagram illustrates the lengths of delays at North Side Station. Find the median, find the interquartile range. Well, it goes up to 30 here, so we're going to go across at 15 to find the median. Let's across at 15 and then down there. Hard to sort of tell where that is, but I know that's 10, that's 11, that's 12, that's 12.5. So I would go for then 12.25. The upper quartile is going to be then at 22.5. And reading down. I think that's 15.5 there. And then the lower quartile is at 7.5. It looks like it's halfway through that. Five, 6, 7. Okay. And I think I'm going to go then for, let me see, it's halfway through. So that's, hopefully you can see this okay. That's 5, sorry, that's 6, that's 7, that's 8. That would be 8.5, that would be 9. So I'm going to go then for 8.75. So the interquartile range is Q3, take away Q1, which are those two quartiles. So I have 15.5, take away 8.75. Hopefully I've been accurate enough there. That gives me then 6.75. And we have that again, just the mark scheme actually gives 6.8 there. That gives an 8.7 exactly, but that's okay. The box plot illustrates the length of delays at south end. Make two comparisons between the lengths of delays at North Side Station to those at south end station. So let me see. The interquartile range there, that's 22, so that's going to be 24, that's going to be 10, that's going to be 12, so that's going to be 13. So the interquartile range there I think is going to be 11. And the median is going to be 20, so those are the two pieces of information I want to know. And remember, I took those in from this information here, so that's what I have. So the median here is 12.25. The median here is 20, so the median is much higher. So average delay, which is our median, is much higher at south end. And then the second comparison, there's my interquartile range for that one, and my interquartile range for this one is only 6.75. And so more variation is the word actually used in the mark scheme in delays, as in there's more of a range in the delays at south end. that's okay. The price of 900 litres of oil increased by 28%. The new price is 736. How much did 900 litres cost before? This is a reverse percentage, so 736 is actually 128%. So to get 1%, we got to do 736 divided by 128. And you end up with 5.75. And then to find 100%, which was being the original amount, times that by 100, that's quite easy, which is 575. You can divide by 1.28, that'll give you the answer as well. But our answer here is 575. The diagonal of a rectangle is 26 centimeters. The width of the rectangle is x. The length of the rectangle is 34 minus x. Show that that is that. That's 26. That's x. That's 34 minus x. So we're going to use Pythagoras for this right angled triangle here. So it's going to be x squared plus 34 minus x all squared is 26 squared. That gives me x squared plus 34. If you square it, I think you get 1156. And you're actually doing, sorry, I've done this out separately, but 34 minus x squared, remember, is 34 minus x upon 34 minus x. We're actually doing FOIL here, so 34 times 34, 1156, minus 34x minus 34x, that gives me minus 68x, and then plus x squared, and then 26 squared is 676. I hope you see what I've done there. I've multiplied this out. You need to use FOIL because it's the whole thing squared. Tidying this up, 2x squared minus 68x, and then taking this over to here, I think then gives 480. And if you divide everything then by 2, you get x squared minus 34x plus 240 is 0, which is what we've been looking for. Solve the equation to find the possible values of x. You can, of course, do this a couple of different ways. This is a quadratic equation. You could go for A is 1, B is minus 34, and C is 240. Put it into the formula, or you could factorize it. You're looking for two numbers and multiply to give 240 and add to give minus 34. That's the way I'm going to do it. So I can put it then into its two brackets. So minus 10 and minus 24, that's quite hard to come up with, but again, just use the formula if you're a wee bit stuck, and that gives me x equals 10, or x then is 24. And that's us done.